All right, let's talk about something that seems huge, right? Learning to code. For a lot of people, it feels impossibly complicated. But what if I told you it might actually be way easier than you think? Today, we're going to cut through all the noise and give you a simple, clear path to get started. So let's just dive right in. So, first things first, why should you even care about this stuff? Well, it comes down to one word: leverage. Just think about this for a second. In the time it takes you to brush your teeth, some lines of code somewhere can execute a trade that literally makes millions of dollars. The truth is, knowing how to code gives you this incredible superpower in the modern world. It's how you run laps around everybody else. So, here's our game plan for the next few minutes. We're going to start with the why. Then we'll walk through a really simple 3-step process, just starting, then building real things, and finally, tackling that final boss, the job interview. And to rack it all up, we'll get into the real secret to actually becoming an expert. Okay, let's get into our first section: why you should code. And let's be clear, this is not some niche skill for people in hoodies anymore. It's become a fundamental tool for building, for creating, and for just getting ahead in almost any industry you can think of. Now, you've probably done this. You've gone online and typed in how to learn to code, and you're just hit with this wall of information. You see all these first-year computer science students with their fancy MacBooks giving crazy complicated advice. So the first and honestly the most important tip I can give you is this: just ignore all of that. We're going to keep it super, super simple. And that brings us to the most critical part of this entire journey. Step 1, just start. I know, it sounds almost stupidly simple, but it is a 100% proven fact that every single successful programmer in the world, at some point, started. That is the biggest hurdle, and we're going to get you over it right now. So, how do you actually start? Well, you've basically got two main options. On one hand, you've got the self-taught path. You can use amazing free resources like roadmap.sh and just learn completely at your own pace. On the other hand, there's the more structured path, a university degree or a coding bootcamp where you get a set curriculum and a ton of support. Look, neither one is better than the other. It's all about finding what works for you. But listen, there is a huge trap here. When you look at those roadmaps, it's so tempting to think you have to master every single little box before you can move on. Please, don't do that. As our source material brilliantly puts it, that's like trying to learn how to make a grilled cheese by reading a whole book on bread and then a totally separate book on cheese. At some point, you just have to get in the kitchen and try to make the sandwich. Oh man, people waste so much time agonizing over which language to learn first. Is it strongly typed? Is it weakly typed? Is it low level? Is it high level? Just forget all of that. Seriously, the advice is simple. Just learn Python. It's friendly for beginners, it's incredibly powerful, and it will get you building things fast. You can always learn other languages down the road. Okay, once you've got the very, very basics down, you immediately move on to what is, without a doubt, the single most important part of your entire journey. Step 2, build. Actual stuff. So why is building things so important? Because it's your escape route from this place. Tutorial hell. We've all been there, right? You're watching hours and hours of videos. You feel like you're being really productive, but you never actually make anything yourself. You feel busy, but that deep, real learning just isn't happening. The goal is to climb out of tutorial hell and get to its opposite, project heaven. This is that amazing state where you take what you know, even if it's not a lot, and you start applying it to a project that you actually care about. And look, it's going to be hard. You're going to get stuck, a lot. But this is where all the real, meaningful growth happens. It's the secret. It's where all the best developers live and breathe. And check this out. This is a perfect illustration of how that process works. Take a look at this website, neil.fun. It's basically a collection of little games and websites that a student made just to practice coding. His very first projects were super basic, stuff a beginner could whip up in a couple of days. But over years of just consistently building things, his skills compounded into these really complex, fun, advanced projects you see today. That's what practice actually looks like. So, here's the big secret. You don't actually learn by memorizing a textbook or getting a perfect score on a quiz. The real process is messy. You learn by building projects, by constantly Googling error messages, by reading code that other people wrote, and yes, even by copying and pasting little snippets of code until you finally stitch together a product that actually works. That's how it's really done. Okay, so you've learned the basics and you've built some cool stuff. What's next? Well, now it's time to face step 3, the final boss. And this is all about getting yourself ready for that technical job interview. And to beat this final boss, you're going to need to train. In the world of tech jobs, the training gym is a website called LeetCode. It's just a huge collection of coding puzzles and problems that big tech companies love to use to test how you think and solve problems when you're under pressure. Now, let's be honest, is solving these abstract little puzzles the absolute best way to measure if someone's a great developer? Probably not, but that doesn't matter. You have to think of it like this. It's the secret handshake. It's the game you have to play. It's the set of hoops you jump through to prove to the interviewer that you've done the work and you're serious. You just got to do it. So we've covered the steps, right? Start, build, and then practice for the interview. But before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with the real secret, what it actually means to become an expert at this stuff. Here's what it all boils down to. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is born knowing how to do this. When you first start, it's going to feel like everyone on earth knows more than you. That's totally normal. Expertise isn't some flash of genius. It's a slow, gradual process that happens over a long, long time. It happens by doing, not by watching. And the most important thing to remember is that every single expert you look up to once started in the exact same place you are right now. So forget the intimidating stereotypes, forget the endless lists of things you have to know. The path is actually really simple. Start, build, and practice. The only real question left is the one right here on your screen. So what are you going to build first?